Going on, everybody? My name is Terminus, and today we are going to watch Bocchi the Rock episode 7. Yeah, let's continue with this crazy train, all right? I've had a lot of fun until now, and very interesting themes in general. I mean, it always, in my opinion, it always depends, right? How deep you can actually dive into a theme, because you go in too dry, it ruins the comedy of the show oftentimes, especially if you're doing like the reaction specifically. And this is what the discussion is for, partially, that we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into it. But obviously, this is a moving story. This is a changing story, and what the author wants to say about the series isn't necessarily always what is being presented here, right? Or what we see in it. Let's say it like that. What we interpret out of it. So we can sometimes just extract more meaning out of certain things that maybe not necessarily are have been explicitly meant this deeply. I think it's always great, and I personally, whenever I create a story, which is not that often, but when I do always like to have people put more meaning into it than I originally intended, because it means that the medium, in my opinion, is very transferable, right? The medium is very malleable, and it does a lot of different things for different people, even if the intention wasn't originally there. Which, on the flip side, I do feel like there's always this point to be made about media in general, on how exactly are we expressing ourselves as authors, as writers, as writers of books, novels, as writers of TV, movies, media. These are things that grab a lot of attention, that have potentially a very, very large audience. And with a large audience comes the responsibility to be, at least to a degree, to choose our words and the way we present things in a way that maybe they can't be misinterpreted too much, right? Because there is certain moments in media, especially anime sometimes, where we do have moments where I'm like, yes, I know what the author is going for, right? But there is a connotation in there, or there is the way something is worded, or the way something is addressed or put in, or the way something is represented, that leaves room for interpretation on potentially ways to see things that are not healthy for individuals, healthy for people. And that might not apply to everybody, might not apply to every series at all times, but we do have these moments. Now, in Bocchi, it's very much, right, it's very much not a topic. Most of Bocchi is revealed through comedy. We have this hilarious way of, but also very true to nature way of Bocchi seeing things from her perspective, and then we get sometimes presented with other perspectives that are vastly different to that. We do see that divide, and that's what I like about the series. We do see that extreme divide between how any one individual can see things, be that in a very negative or be that also in a very positive way, and how large the gap can be between what I'm perceiving and what somebody else is perceiving, or what society in general is perceiving. Because for Bocchi, it's obviously always, or very often, negative things, right? It's like, I don't want to bother these people. If I'm going in here, I'm taking the spotlight, people will be kind of mad or annoyed at me. They don't want to see like some stupid teenage girl playing mediocre guitar, which first of all is putting herself down because she doesn't have an adequate way to rate her skill, which is a problem on the internet, because oftentimes you do have vastly different messaging in the same, like below the same content. You have comments that tell you, man, you're so talented, this is incredible, I love watching or listening to your music and whatnot. The way you write, the way you move, or the way you play the guitar or the strings or whatever. It's amazing. And then you have the next comment down below will be like, oh boy, this sucks. Why is anybody watching this? And then it's like, holy shit, what do I think, right? And people who are naturally drawn to that negative mindset, they will probably think, like, pay more attention to the negative thing that is being said, especially if the quantity is not really quantifiable, right? Obviously, if we go through the comments as a scientific method, if we would approach this like a psychological study, maybe we could approach it and be like, okay, like there's 102 comments that say something positive, and there's 89 comments that say something negative, but no single person is going through each and every one of those comments and is actually putting down the numbers. And even then, what is the relation here, right? Isn't like 100 and I don't know what I just said, 120 and 89 very close to one another, right? It's almost the same. This is how it feels, right? Because there's an amount that we can maybe still imagine, but an amount that is relatively high, right? We can't imagine every single individual out of these 120 and those 89. So we're like a bunch of people, positive, negative, right? It equals itself out, especially since, and there have been studies on this, humans often tend to pay more attention to the negative than to the positive. Now, why is that? There can be a bunch of explanations for this. One of the explanations would be maybe that negative feedback can help us more to improve, right? Because positive feedback always, I mean, obviously that is also like a signal for us to be like, yeah, do more of that. But negative feedback, we can actually put into action something where we're like, okay, we need to actively change something, right? That is one theory we could apply to that. Be like, okay, maybe we pay more attention to negative things because of that. Also, we do know a similar related topic, not exactly the same, but that humans do consider losses of the equal amount to like gains a lot more negatively than the gains themselves, right? So you, I don't know, you win 200 euros or dollars, or you lose 100 or 200 euros or dollars, right? The 200 euros that you lose will be much more intensely painful for you than the $200 you win will be rewarding for you, which is like going into a very, if you're not careful and if you make the wrong or unfortunate experience, you might go into a mode of loss avoidance rather than seeking rewards, seeking success. And that is a very negative mindset to have, because we have also found out in across various studies, it differs of course, but that on average people tend to be more productive and less stressed when they are actually seeking out success and seeing anything difficult that comes their way as challenge, rather than trying to avoid loss and seeing everything that comes their way as a threatening situation. If you look up like Lazarus stress model and whatnot, those are some of the most basic but also most foundational models of stress. It is like the way we cope with stress differs based on how we perceive it, right? If we perceive something as a threat that is potentially not even in the realm of possibility of being overcome, then stress is going to be a lot higher and a lot longer than if we see something as a challenge and we're like, okay, this is going to be really difficult, but I know I can do that if I try. And you see it as almost like a halfway positive, halfway negative thing. Negative thing is, this is difficult, but positive thing is like, when I accomplish this challenge, I'm going to feel great about this. That's how I explain it to myself, right? It's one model of explanation. We also have to keep in mind that in psychology and in everything else that is relating to behavioral studies or human studies, things are not clear cut. It's not like this is exactly because of this and that. We have like a bunch of, oftentimes dozens of theories that try to explain the grander model of like the different factors that are influencing one another to create certain behaviors, certain modes of thinking, certain functions of the human mind and brain. So this is not a be-all and end-all theory. None of these are. But it's very interesting to kind of approach this and start thinking about what could cause this, right? And in which relation could these systems be, and why do humans human, right? Why are humans the way they are? But yeah, for Bocchi, it's a very interesting case because she is, like probably many people, she's seeking out social circles because she wants that social connection. I do feel like humans in general are very reliant on that. We talked about this before, I think, in Monster. I don't know if we talked about it in this, but human beings, ultimately growing up, they need that human warmth, that affection, that connection, that love, because if they don't get it, they can actually die despite having the proper nutrition. We had a couple of terrible experiments in like past centuries that prove that children can just die if they don't get any interaction, like social interaction and affection, right? There have been like orphans and whatnot that have been properly tended to when it came to nutrition, even when it came to maybe sickness and all of that. But they all kind of died very young because in those specific cases, the people purposefully did not give them any kind of emotional connection, affection, or social interaction. And that is scary, right? Because a lot of animals, if you look into the animal kingdom, animals can just function on a very basic level from very young on, right? If you look at how quickly rats or cats or any kind of animal that we have around us grow up, right? Function without a parent. Because they have to also a little bit, but do wonder if that's always been the case for humans, right? If humans always needed that affection, or if that has been a thing that, like, almost a genetic thing that developed due to the way our social hierarchies developed over millions of years. And maybe this is why we have that problem, right? Because in a way, if you do not have these social interactions, if you don't have these experiences, in a way it's kind of also setting you up for failure, right? Because you need that in everyday life, in the way our society works. Even back in like ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, you needed that to a degree, maybe less than today, but you needed it. Less than today. I'm saying less than today because today there's more people on Earth, right? There's barely a place on Earth where there's no people at all, right? So the necessity is a lot higher than back in the day when people were not as numerous and not as far and widespread and not as interconnected as in our globalized world today. Yeah, she's seeking this connection and she wants that connection, but she has difficulty finding it because of her low self-esteem, because of the lack of experiences she made with especially with peers, because she'd made some experiences with adults, which in my opinion is also where she gets most of like her attitude from, the attitude that is not the attitude of a teenager, but at the same time she has the fears that she shares with common like people, teenagers. We've seen that with Kita. Kita has her own troubles, right? Of course she's a bright girl, she's a social butterfly and all of that, but she also had that thing where she was like running away because she kind of low-key lied that she could play the guitar, and then it was getting all over her head and she wasn't able to kind of come clean and say that, and then she ran away in the beginning. We have Rio, who in a way is the antithesis, like the opposite of Bocchi, but also in her ways isolated, right? She enjoys the isolation. People like that exists too, right? Who are like, okay, I don't mind being alone, or I enjoy being alone. That doesn't mean they don't like having emotional connections to people, but oftentimes for those people, it's very few people, right? very few people and in like in lower doses, right? You don't need that every time, every day, whatever. You need that every once in a while. You have that phase where like, I really want some human connection, right? And that's difficult too, because if you're not the person who is in the habit of constantly keeping all of these connections up, it can probably be difficult to reconnect to people that you haven't seen in a couple of months. And you're like, okay, I really would like to see them and kind of connect to them or whatever, but like they are more used to people who are constantly connected to them. So maybe there's a distance between us because we haven't been interacting that much. So there's a disconnect between people who are more used to like constant interactions and people who are more used to spurts of like interactions. Yeah, I mean, Rio on that hand. Also, she's very eccentric, so that could put some people off. Other people it draws in, right? Kita, in this case, like we make a big joke out of that. But yeah, and then we have kind of in between, like Nijika. I don't know how to like. It's very difficult to put her down for me, to be honest. Like to pin her down on some kind of like category, because she does have that social capability. She can do with other people, right? And she exists on like a social level here and there. Maybe she's a little bit too drawn into her personal circles, but she does have a friend circle or two that because we know that from the first concert they had where they actually just invited friends, and Rio doesn't have a lot of friends, so all of them came from her. She has her own dreams, she has her own goals and aspirations, which is great, but I can't pin her down yet on that scale of like social anxiety, social interactiveness, introvertedness, extrovertedness, right? All of these things, I can't pin her down exactly, but she definitely falls somewhere on there, and she has her own issues. We do see that, right? Conflict with her sister, which we don't have a lot of sibling conflicts in Bocchi's life personally, and we don't know if Kita or Rio have siblings. I don't think so far. So, yeah. Very interesting to see all these interactions. A lot to pick apart from that and just look at from our own life. But last time we had like a meeting with a fellow guitarist who helped us a little bit with a little street concert to advertise for our first real concert, which was a nice almost a nice practice for Bocchi to overcome, because for Bocchi it's not all about practicing the guitar and playing it, because she can do that pretty well. Right? Probably the best out of all of the people that we have in 𝔸𝕂𝘀𝗶𝗰 bando. But she is very anxious. She doesn't have the self-confidence. She doesn't like, every time, even if people pay attention to her or praise her, there's always like the question, okay, might there be an alternative explanation rather than me being good and actually causing people to have a good time, why they would compliment me, why they would still listen to me, right? Especially like when you're like, for example, a concert with the band, Bocchi would probably be like, all right, I'm playing all right, but everybody, they came for everybody else, right? And they're staying for everybody else. And I hope I don't mess it up for them by playing one wrong chord, because then I'd be ruining this for everybody else, right? And then the doom spiral begins again. But last time, I think, gave her a real boost. I do love the shots that we're taking. I talked about it last time. We don't need to specifically go into it, but I think I might want to do in a couple of episodes, or at the end of the series, the final episode, I want to kind of go into Sakugaboro and look at who's been animating the shots, right? Because that's always a cool thing to do without the risk of getting spoiled. Who is animating which shots, because there have been so many really cool point of view shots of like the instruments being played and all of that jazz. Really cool, really well done. I do wonder how it's been done, because we do not, right? We do have a lot of technological options these days, or and I still can't grasp all of the techniques they're using, right? There's anything from motion capture over to rotoscoping to just very well spatial awareness drawing, right? But yeah, and obviously computer animation helps most of the time to fill in the gaps, kind of just correct and whatever, but that's nice because you do not have to do as much grunt work and you can focus on the creative vision that you're trying to create. But yeah, let's get on with episode 7, shall we? Yeah, it's episode 7, right? Oh, I almost forgot. I almost forgot. If you're new to this, you see the edited reaction right here on YouTube. I would appreciate if you stayed for the discussion as well. If you really want like a full length, there's some on my Patreon for the lowest tier. So like basic entry fee. There's nothing higher than that. I've mainly done it because my editing is so extensive at this point that I'm putting a lot of work into that. And if I'm putting so much work into editing it so that you get as much as possible of like all of the reactions I have to the episode, that it's almost full length sometimes in some series, and Bocchi may be a little bit less, but you definitely know what's happening and whatnot. I want to at least for people to stay on YouTube and watch it on YouTube, or do the Patreon thing and then just look at the pip in that way. And that's fine, okay, right? If you prefer that, that's fine, but it's just I can't do that on YouTube, otherwise I would do it on YouTube, and then it would be a lot less work for me because it would be a lot less condensed in terms of like what I need to edit, right? It takes multiple hours to edit like a 20-minute episode of this thing, right? Yeah. This is the new thing. Tell me if you hate it, tell me if you love it, whatever. Check out all the social links down below, right? Patreon, Discord, whatever. And let's get into the episode. Alright, friends. 𝔸𝕬𝕠𝕦𝕥 begins in a 3, a 2, a 1. Ah, that's high summer. Oh, home visit. For fucking sure. This is big for her, right? She's gonna be nervous as fuck. House like a cardboard box. Oh, she's waiting like a surprise party. I do love how they just focus on elements in that shot. But? Ooh, okay. She's just focusing on, yeah. Holy shit. Rio doesn't give a fuck. You're like, at least that is creative. Indeed. Oh wait, give me a second. Right, sorry about that. Got an important call. Yeah, I do really like how they shade this, right? With them walking through the trees with the shadows and whatnot. Wait, what's about to happen? No, she did not. What the fuck? What's a ryokan? She's so nervous. Holy shit, what the fuck? Yeah, same, I'm dead too. Same. What the fuck? What in the hell? And back to the pink Bocchi colors, nice. Alright, how will they react? I'm probably gonna be just like, alright. sergeant for it. What the?
楽しそうだね。はい。滑った。後藤さんも今日楽しみにしてくれてたって分かって。北さんの優しさ。どうぞ。後藤さん、これお土産。ご家族で召し上がってね。ありがとうございます。紙袋からおしゃれな何かが。
Training. What the fuck?
もありますよ。だからライブの T シャツデザイン考えるんでしょ。
Yeah, we have a mission.
お揃いの方が一体感、バンド感。
I don't know.
遊びに来たんじゃないんだからね。
Welcome.
すみません、全部片付けますね。
Holy shit.
ちょっとは遊ぼうかな。はい、賛成です。じゃあ飲み物取ってきます。楽にしててください。
Oh, Bocchi, please.
それにしてもすごい飾り付けだね。でもギターとかエフェクター何もありませんね。私勝手にもう少しロックな感じの部屋してるのかと思って。これはロック？ロック
She's got the seal on the closet.
ロックなところあるかな。いた。あれ、なんでこんなにアーシャがたくさん？わからないけど、なんかめちゃめちゃロックな気が。でっかいのもあるよ。この写真部屋にいっぱい貼ってたんだよ。でもお母さんに目がチカチカするから剥がしなさいって止められたの。あとそっちのお札とかはお姉ちゃんがこの前お化けに取りつかれたから貼ってあるんだ。以上、説明おしまい。
You're really 5 years old?
後藤さんの妹？はい、はじめまして、後藤2人です。犬は地味編。麦茶でよかったのかな。
They discovered the sister.
さん、お待たせしました。ねえ、ギターでムニオンズの歌弾いて。じゃあ今度来る時までに練習しとくね。絶対だよ。次いつ来る？地味編は人懐っこいね。すっかり打ち解けて、私の。
Chill, Bocchi. Chill.
あれ、ぼっちちゃん？後藤さん？5歳児と犬以下のコミュ力。あ、お姉ちゃんまた固まってる。お母さんたちは？お買い物。お姉ちゃん今から大事なお話するから地味編と遊んでてね。つまんない。二人ちゃんがいても大丈夫よ。うん、私も。
Shut down.
妹いたらはっちゃけられないのでお願いします。地味編と遊んでいてください。冷凍庫のアイス食べていいから。
Alright, you got me at ice bar.
しょうがないな。
It is what it is.
なのね。え、今のやりとりのどこでそれ感じた？
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
それじゃ T シャツのデザイン決めよう。
This can only end in disaster.
そのままグッズにして物販で売りたいと思ってるし。
I think it would be cool if everybody had a slightly different outfit.
よーし、後藤さん頑張りましょう。はい。たまにはみんなにいいとこ見せないと。その格好で真面目な顔するのやめて。
本当に遊びに来てる？
本当の本当に？うん。お姉ちゃんの妄想じゃなくて？
Oh, this is painful.
できました。お、どんなのどんなの？コンセプトは友情努力勝利です。体育祭で見るやつ。
Yeah, it looks literally like a festival.
ライブにそんな概念ないけど、ノリです。ノリ。
But
だってみんなの心が一つになる気がしません？ねえ、後藤さん。お、体育祭に相当なトラウマが。体育祭、それは陰キャのトラウマ学校イベント第1位。
I mean, no, I don't know what she's talking about, but oh, this is cool. Holy shit. Stop motion. What the fuck? Oh, this is a cool sequence. They're being so creative. And she's a sludge again. Hello? Different anime? What? Oh. We in Kill la Kill now, right? The bit isn't over.
今日のぼっちタイム CM またぐぐらい長いね。私なんかしちゃいました。まったく罪な女だね、北ちゃんは。後藤さん戻ってきて。
The meta commentary is insane.
何をしても邪魔な存在であり、隅の方でじっとしていても非協力的と罵られるところである。
Honestly, we talk about this later because I kind of can relate again.
本当にいるでしょ。お邪魔してます。
いやー、感動だな。一人のお友達が遊びに来る日が。
Shit, don't kill her.
Holy shit, you fucking killed her, dude!
ありがとうございます。
一人とバンド組んでくれてるんだよね。
くれてるっていうか、私がお願いしてメンバーになってもらったっていうか。そうなんだ。
ほらな、音楽は人と人をつなぐんだよ。
The dad, of course, he is like, really?
自分の世界に入って迷惑とかかけてない？でも全然迷惑だなんて。
She's out of it.
だよね。そうなんだ。いつまでも体育祭を引きずってるところが、さらに自分が陰キャなのを自覚させ辛くなる。唐揚げ揚げたてです。
Okay, food. Food will cure her.
僕がニンニク醤油で手前か塩麹、お好みでレモンと七味をどうぞ。
いただきます。友達が来るって聞いたとき、多分妄想か幻想だろうって思ったけど、一応写真もあるし。
Do you have to say it right in front?
今は画像くらいいくらでも加工できるし。
加工？
一応聞くけど、レンタル友達的なサービスの人じゃ。
正真正銘のバンド仲間です。
そっかそっか。
確かに私ならやりかねないけど、お父さんお母さんの私のイメージって。ぼっちちゃん、家でもこういうキャラなんだ。この子何日か前からずっとそわそわしてたのよ。お部屋の飾り付
Fucking exposed.
けでは片付け、飾り付けでは片付けを繰り返してて。
やるかもしれないからってツイスターのイメージトレーニングだっけ。
お母さんお父さん、そういうことペラペラ喋らないで。
This is class A mom and dad behavior.
記念日にしよう。友達記念日。
記念日。やめてよ、もう。あの子がバイトを始めたっていうのは。私の姉のライブハウスです。ぼっちちゃんは基本ドリンクの接客を。接客？なんだか不思議だな。
I think it's very hard to react to things like these, right? The parents are so surprised, right? If the parents are so like, ooh. Also, random passerby's like, what the fuck is going on there? Watch out, like the neighborhood association's gonna call.
それね、すごくキュンとしておすすめなの。じゃあみんな
Movie night.
いいねいいね。
No, but she's gonna feel left out.
いつの間にか戻りにくい空気になってる。
I can feel that, right? If people are already talking and they're already in their groove and you don't know how to get in there.
結局映画見てゲームして遊び倒してしまった。
But
ダート大富豪楽しかったですね。すごく楽しかった。けどもですね。ライブティのデザイン考え。
yeah, you didn't do anything. Of course you did.
先輩、また後藤さんが。これはあれだね。青春胸キュン映画を見てまた食らっちゃったんだね。それは陰キャトラウマ映画ジャンル第1位。かっこ日本陰キャ協会調べ。ぼっちちゃん、もう時間ないから。
Yeah, snap out of it.
女子がイケメン2人。ダメだこりゃ。あの可愛さで平凡なる私の。寮からも
Oh, holy shit.
が届いたよ。見たいです。見せてください。
This is amazing.
一緒に見ようよ、ぼっちちゃん。何これ？カレー？意味わかんないんだけど。晩飯どっちがいいかな。自分で考えろ。カレーがいいですっと。北ちゃんも真面目に返さない。ぼっちちゃん復活？私のデザインも見てくだされば。
Ooh, does she have a really good design? Or is it gonna be like crap? Holy shit, that's metal. A little bit too metal, maybe.
どうでしょう。どうせおしゃれすぎますかね。中学生男子の服によくある謎フォントだわ。 その大量のファスナーと鎖は何に使うの？ファスナ
I'm asking myself the same thing.
ーストラップにもなります。意外と実用的。じゃあこれが採用ということでよろしいでしょうか。それはもしかして私服もこんな感じかな。あ、服はお母さんが買ってきてくれるから違います。あ、そうなの？一度も着たことないけど好みじゃないから。見てみたい。
Oh no! You opened the box of Pandora.
ねえお願い、ちょっと着てみて。お願いお願い。
Do we get to see Bocchi in a different outfit? What? This would be a first.
ですけど。
Oh no. How bad is it? Okay, these are the clothes her mom is. I can see why she didn't want to wear them. She doesn't feel like that.
普段の気候で忘れるところでしたね。もう脱いでも。待って待って。そうだ、前髪も上げなよ。絶対そっちの方がいいって。美容室行けないから伸びているだけで。なら私がセットしてあげよう。いや、大丈夫です。
Oh no 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 no. What's happening? Hello? Is she in love or something? What the heck is happening? Okay, it's just Bocchi absolutely obliterated. It was a nice life. You're welcome. I love this background, it's kind of like so. What is happening? Okay, they're all dead now. We're gonna open this up and then it's like, oh, I thought it was gonna go differently. Oh god. He's like, what the hell happened? How very drab. Holy shit. Oh no. I'm not celebrating it, but okay. Oh no. Is the concert gonna be... Gotta pray to God. She has a hard time keeping up. Oh. Right. Let's make them. You hope for the best. That is a big moment. I look like the... Again, I mean, it's not as cool, but the point of view shot is still great. Time to go anyway. Time to go anyway. Fuck it. No typhoon ain't gonna stop us. Carry my child shot into tomorrow. That's a sentence. Yeah, of course we're gonna watch it. What do you think? Who do you think we are, right? Yeah, I mean, that was great. That was fantastic. I'll see you, well, either back on YouTube, if that's the case. Thanks for supporting me, and or see you in the discussion right away. All right, let's talk about it, shall we? I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but let's just boom, get it on the screen and see what we can. Well, we're in the midst of summer, which I really like. Oftentimes I mean, at this point, we're all watching anime. We do have the subtle, well, not so subtle hints with the cicadas and the heat radiating. We also see a different color tone whenever we display summer, which is very lit up, very like almost pressuring right from down below. We have the blue sky. You do immediately realize it's summer. Love that little detail that we're getting here. But we're going to her house and we're talking about how we're gonna design t-shirts, and how Rio, which I find very funny, Rio is always thinking up some lies, so she might actually be somewhat of a compulsive liar. Well, not compulsive, but in a way that she just keeps telling white lies, which pretty crazy and out there white lies, to avoid going to social things, which I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is so funny. Because on the one hand, I can see her not caring, but on the other hand, Rio is very, very out there and creative, right? Has very crazy and whack ideas and sometimes just does stupid shit. She's very much feels to me like an actor theater person, not in the way that she's melodramatic. You would expect that more from like Kita, but Rio is more like, let's just do this, right? Let's just try this, or I have like some weird idea that we're gonna do, or like this is popular and whatnot. Like I think one of the last times where they were dressing up like as almost like Korean boy band or whatever, and that was her idea as well. So Rio is kind of like really wacky when it comes to stuff like that, and I can see her very much enjoying telling all these heart-wrenching lies and seeing the reactions of other people to that. Because as much as we do like the kudere stereotype and think like those people are very flat on affect, right, on emotional expression, that doesn't mean they don't have anything going on the inside, right? They enjoy things, right? They find joy in things. Maybe she has a little bit of a sadistic streak that would also kind of or like morbid curiosity, right? That would perfectly fit into her character, the way we've gotten to know her, especially if we also see that the whole Rio Kita dynamic and how that works. But yeah, very funny, very cool. I love these shots. There's so much detail in them. I mean, look at that. It almost looks traced, so I would, maybe it actually is traced. Because in some of these little parts, like the cars, if you look at the cars specifically, or if you look at like the front here with the plants, it almost looks like real plants have been photographed and they've put a filter over it. So I do wonder if some elements of this, because I do feel like the houses are definitely drawn and not traced, but, well, might be traced, but not like photographed and filtered. But some of these look very, very lifelike, so it's insane. And others look like they've been actively drawn, but they do a very good job at meshing both of these. So that's a cool thing. That's a cool element. And obviously she's been nervous. She's been nervous for years, for days, for absolute days. The fucking ridiculous poster at the front of the house, like everybody walking past like, what? But this is also good publicity. Anybody sees like Keisuko band and like whatever, right? Some kind of band, and then they see that on a venue close by, they're like, hey, they're having a concert. This is like some free fucking advertisement here. So yeah. I don't know what, actually let me look that up. What's a ryokan? What? Oh yeah, now I get it. It's a traditional Japanese inn. Okay. And they thought, like, because of the poster outside, because inns oftentimes or sometimes do that if they're like, if they have like a band or any kind of musician or artist or any person of like the public visiting them, they have like some kind of banner who is like welcome whatever, right? And we see it right here, which is really cool, really fun. First of all, somebody needs to explain to me what sergeant for a day means, but she's got all the party gear. She's like, I gotta make an impression. I love the glasses and the fucking whatchamacallit, mustaches specifically. And this perfectly represents how I feel. I'm like, bro, I'm dead. I'm dead. What the fuck, Bocchi? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? But it's hilarious because this is just how she is. She's like, oh, I gotta make it perfect. I gotta make it right. And then she comes out with some whack shit where like, Kita Nijika, like, not sure how to react to that. Let's just say, okay, cool. Because this is how they approached it so far, right? Which is not bad. I've praised it in the past episode where I was like, hey, I think it's nice that they accept her the way she is. And they're like, okay, this is just Bocchi being Bocchi again, right? Because, I mean, they dismiss it to some degree, but they don't dismiss it as like something bad. They dismiss it as like, oh, that's just Bocchi, right? Let's just wait till she's back into reality, and then we're like, right, till she snapped back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. And then we can talk again, right? And they just accept that as part of her character, and they even say like it's fun, which I'm like, okay, yeah, it's funny. It's funny sometimes. I would like to say they're laughing with her, not about her, but they're laughing about her. But not in a like, look at this stupid whatever kind of way, but like, oh, fucking Bocchi, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like us, right? The audience, they feel like that sometimes. And that gets captured perfectly in the way that like they express themselves and whatnot. Let's have a party. Are you having fun, Bocchi? Bocchi's like, yeah, I bombed. I fucking failed. Mission failed. We go next time. Fucking hell. But yeah, this is great. Also, sorry about the hair. I'm just fucking. There you go. There you go. Total chaos. I bombed too. We hope your time here heals you in both mind and I think maybe this was the thing that was like kind of tipping them off to be an in or something. I love how she's just fucking. She doesn't even properly look at it, and she's like, "Oh, it smells so good. It must be trendy and whatever." Just because she brought something like probably, I don't know, a little chocolate or whatever as like a gift or something. And they want to create a sense of band. Actually, I think they were perfectly fine the way they are. Like, Kita has amazing outfits all the time. Nijika has this kind of weird between like girlish and tomboyish kind of thing going. Rio is literally the androgynous member of the band with like the church half, like the really good nice dress shirt halfway tucked in and halfway out, which is perfect for her look. Well, Bocchi would have needed to change because her tracksuit is just like it's ruining the image. I mean, of course it's funny for us and it's neat, but if you like look at composition and fashion, and I'm not the fashion expert, but I would say like Bocchi would need something else. But I think her outfit being a little metal, right, would actually work perfectly well for her and express her as a person. And they can still color coordinate and maybe have some like a Keisuke band like prints or whatever on that, right? And then they're individual, but at the same time they kind of represent the unity and cohesion. I think simple t-shirts are, I guess, a good start, right? To just create that feeling of togetherness, which Bocchi is very afraid about, but yeah. We'll jump over all the funny bits because honestly, I'm just gonna wait till we highlight it. I finally saw the fucking meme. Holy shit, I finally saw the meme. This right here, this is the meme. I've seen that so many times on like Discord. Holy shit, finally saw how that, yeah, how that has been created. Like, how is she 5 the way she talks? Like, how is you fucking 5? Maybe it's a translation, but she doesn't seem like 5. She seems like she's more like 8 or 9 or something. Maybe I just misread that and got it wrong, but whatever. Kita's is very, very like neon out there, right? Like very too much. There's too much on that shirt. What is that fucking star? What does it? 3 stars, what do they represent? Like, holy shit. And the smiley and what, like, something like I'm sorry, something a grade schooler would fucking design. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't, but it's too tacky in my opinion. And her school drum, I love what they did here, right? And I'm gonna highlight that because this is like amazing. The school festival, the stop motion picture thing, it's so amazing, and it takes so much time to do stop motion, really, right? It's an art form in and of itself. You need to create such amazing light conditions, right? You need to have the right camera angle. You need to do the right rotation. You need hours upon hours to arrange the pieces specifically in a way that it seems just like the things are moving and not like you're just moving the position of the thing, right? You need to be pinpoint accurate. Stop motion is something very, very cool, and I love how they're playing with the shadows, right? With the orange light on the one side and the shadow on the other side, but you don't have that much shadow, right? You still need to see the figures in the light, so you have to create that enough light exposure to actually make that happen. And then they zoom out and do the same thing again. So how do they fucking do that, right? But it's really, really well done. An entire month, torturous existence, living for naught but the sports festival. Yeah, sports festivals are a big thing in Japan. They're not that much of a big thing in Germany. I mean, we still have sports festivals, and it's cool, and it's very important for like the athletes in the class, right? People who want scholarships later on for athletic stuff, or want to go like become professional athletes or do nationals, Olympics, whatever. But they're not as big in like a part of like cohesion of school life. It's just more of a fun event where people are like, hey, today we don't have school actually, right? We just need to come and we see some fun sports games, and some of our like classmates are playing in certain sports and whatever. This is not like class cohesion unity, and it's more of a like a fun extracurricular event where people that are actually interested in athletic sports and whatever can show what they're made of, right? Some of the friends and classmates can cheer them on, and other than that, it's just a fun day where you don't have to do school and cram and whatever. So it's still a cool event, but it's not as meticulously planned and as like important in terms of like the weight that we put on it as it is in Japan, which I do know that they prepare like months in advance, and then they have entire like strategies, and classes are going up against one another, and they start in like elementary school with this shit. We only start in like secondary school as far as I know. At least when I was in school, that was the case. Bocchi melting away. And we have this bit draws out very long, and it takes inspiration of so many things, right? We have the stop motion, which I can see maybe like some kind of shafty monogatari Madoka influence, but also just stop motion in general, because Madoka and like Shafty shows, they don't have stop motion per se, but they are creative with their things. I think this show has proven, in my opinion, also that they're super, super creative when it comes to displaying Bocchi's little episodes of like delusion and panic and anxiety with all kinds of different things, from 8-bit computer graphics over stop motion here to completely different anime art styles like we see over here, which reminds me kind of like a Kill la Kill, right? If you see like the hood, the mantle, right, which Ryuko had in mild spoilers, by the way, in Kill la Kill, and we do see like the school festival thing, which is also a thing that's been in Kill la Kill, like, and we have like this imagery and like the brokenness and the devastation that's going on here. And the funny thing is we have the 4x3, which is completely different anime. I didn't even notice that at first, that we're in 4x3, but it immediately gave me a different feel, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. But yeah, actually I wanted to highlight this, and this is an interesting aspect when it comes to social interactions and everything. She dramatizes it, obviously, but this is a thing that's real. It's real a lot in Japan especially, but it's real in general, and I've made this experience myself, not firsthand, but I've observed this experience, let me say it like that people who are not part of the festival, right, who do not participate, who like to stay on the fringes, there's oftentimes been authority figures, especially teachers, right, or people who are like class presidents or whatnot, they kind of admonish you and shun you for not being part of the activity, even though you yourself might be an outsider, right? You yourself might be like, I have difficulty connecting to my classmates, right? I have difficulty connecting to other people in my age, especially. And instead of trying to encourage you and try to help you by also encouraging the classmates to do more with you and include you in activities, right? Not in a pushy way, but in a like welcoming way. Instead of that, there's often that here, you are guilty for not participating. You are being a downer for not being part of the action and social interaction. You are being like, look at you, you're doing something wrong, right? Shame on you. Instead of like the other way around. At the very least, I observed that a lot in the time when I was in school. And I've also seen it in a lot of media as well, right? Be that Western media or anime, especially anime as well, where we do see that in terms of like when it comes to stuff like school festivals and whatnot, when it's being displayed in media, that's a thing a lot, like being displayed a lot. But yeah, that is a real thing. Society sees you as like at the fringes and outside, and instead of trying to find positive, welcoming ways to actually keep you in, they start alienating you even more and like isolating you even more by saying this is a bad person because they're a bad example because they're not participating, right? And maybe even in some cases getting a bad grade for like being not not participating in these events, which I think is absolutely unfair, especially, I mean, these days it's hopefully a lot less, because these days we're a little bit more aware that people have different proclivities, and people, like some people are just introverted or have a hard time engaging socially. And we should keep that in mind, and we should kind of just try to find ways to make it easier for them to do that and not alienate them and isolate them even more than they already are. Because as we see in Bocchi's experience here, for example, not all of them want to be that far apart from the group. There's some want to be, right? Like Rio, who think like, I'm just gonna make up a ridiculous excuse why I can't, right? Some people would be sick at school then in this case, right? Just go to the doctor, be like, oh, I'm not feeling that great today, and then get like sick days in school, right? Excused sick days. Other people don't want to be. They want to be part of this, but they have so much anxiety and they don't have the skills to actually interact with other people. And when like a teacher or something comes up to you and is like, look at you, why are you doing this? Come on, I'm gonna push you in there. And then you're kind of being reluctant and you're having a hard time or an anxiety attack or whatever. And they're like, shame on you that you didn't, right? That's not helpful. That's really not helpful. And we need to, if it still happens, we need to stop. We need to fucking stop. And we have we have a similar topic with the parents. The parents start talking about, oh no, they're not imaginary friends, or imagine there's not ever been somebody here, right? And look at what like embarrassing things our daughter did in the past. And in their excitedness about their kid finally making social connections, they blurred out all of these embarrassing things that we, as people who don't have that many social connections, right? That as introverts, that we deep down fundamentally fear, because it makes us look like such a loser, right? It makes us look so bad because we can't do these social interactions because we never had like these experiences before. And then, right, people are looking at us like, what, like never? Oh, this is sad. This is right. And then it goes into, in the best case, maybe into like pity. In the worst case, it goes into like just them being like, okay, maybe I shouldn't hang around with them because they're like a social outsider completely. And this is like people judging you through the things that are very private, right? Things that maybe your parents look at that and they're like, oh, this is so sad that she's not having social connections. But for them, it's like, we love her anyway, right? She's our daughter. But to outside people, right? Kids can be very judgmental sometimes. Even adults can be judgmental, but kids more so, right? Because they don't have the sensitivity yet to actually take into account what does the other person feel while while they're at the receiving end of that. So to do that, this is probably one of the greatest fears of teenagers who are more introverted, who actually don't want to be introverted, right? Want to be part of the social interaction and the social circles. And then your parents come and they're like, look, she's never had a friend over or whatever. This is devastating. Even if they don't mean it to be that way. But yeah, we get over it, and we have thankfully very nice friends that are like somewhat used to us being a social amoeba, as Bocchi has put it in the first couple of episodes. And then being like, all right, okay, so she's like that at home as well. Good to know. But they like her anyway, right? They like her for who she is, and they think she's funny sometimes with her anxiety and whatnot. But at other times she has very genuine, nice, right? And they realize that whatever is inside of Bocchi, it's coming from a place of I want to belong. I want to help, right? I mean very well, and I'm like a very, very good person in deep down. And this is what they see, and they're like, okay, right? We've already started to like you. We're friends, whatever. I don't care about this. And it's very fortunate to have friends like these, right? Especially friends that you've only known for a short period of time that are so understanding. They're so excited about, like, to customers, what? This behavior can discourage you, right? When you're an introvert, it's very, right? Being too out there about like, oh, she's doing that? Oh, really? Right? I'm so surprised, right? This is kind of, it's hard to put down, but I've had situations like these before where I did something that is maybe out of character for me, or that is maybe something I haven't done in the past that is very unusual for me. And then people who know me well, they react to it like, wait, you're doing this? Really? Wow, okay. I wouldn't have expected that from you. And they make a big deal out of it. And then if you're somebody who is not as like extroverted, this is a thing that's kind of discouraging you to do it again, because you're like, no, I don't want to feel like that, right? I don't want to feel like that again, that people are like making such a big deal out of that one little thing I'm doing, right? I'm being embarrassed. It's kind of like a weird, awkward situation for me if people are just like highlighting it like it's this grand thing, especially in front of other people, and there's this reaction of, I wouldn't believe that she's doing this, right? This is a thing that's really, really hard to deal with, because it kind of pushes you in the other direction. Before that, you were like, all right, I have confidence, it works, right? You're making positive experiences, and your friend may be encouraging you on a subtle level where they're like, hey, that's great that you actually managed to do that. It's a lot better than being like, you did that? Oh my God, right? Right? It's kind of, it's hard to describe why this is happening, but it's really not the appropriate way to deal with somebody who has issues with that and actually manages to get over some of these issues. But yeah, she's back in her own world thanks to the movie, which is like social interactions and boys actually trying to win over a girl. And then she says something that is very, very true to what our modern media experience is. Let's see if I actually find that, because and she's like back into her thing. Yep, blah blah blah. But if someone that cute is ordinary, what hope is there for me? First of all, two problems, right? The first problem is that she doesn't see herself as cute or beautiful, right? That is not objective. That is highly subjective and tied to her negative self-image. She might be very, very beautiful, or at least look average or ordinary, and with the right styling, she might be elevated to above average or way above average, but she doesn't recognize that. Be that because she doesn't style herself up and not styled up, she does actually not look all that good, or be that because she actually looks ordinary, average, and styled up she would look a lot better than most people, but since her self-image is distorted, she sees herself as way below average, and even if she was gonna style herself up, she would just be average, right? This is how she interprets that, and the problem with that is that if media displays people as perfect, spotless, whatever, right? We use a lot of makeup in Hollywood movies. We use a lot of like filters in social media these days, right? And then there's people being shamed for having like a weird spot on their face, or for their nose or ears looking a little bit weird. At the same time, funnily, like ridiculously enough, we are also shaming people for doing like too much plastic surgery or using too much filters or too much makeup, which is also funny because, right, there's this like animosity going on, this conflict between people who are doing that a lot and people who are doing that almost not at all, right? And people who like to go natural. And some of them are maybe beautiful naturally, and some of them are less beautiful naturally. And then there's animosity coming from both of those sides, right? Stemming from different feelings. But yeah, it's very, very interesting how we're pitting ourselves against each other in this particular regard. But if media only displays beautiful people, and you don't have to have force ugly people into media. I think what you need is have average looking people in media, right? Average looking people. You don't need to have somebody who is 400 pounds and has a lot of like acne on their face and whatever be in media, right? You can have them represented here and there, right? As a side character, as background character. But thing is, right, if we watch movies, we engage with media, we want to kind of oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes we do want somebody we can project ourselves into, right, relate to, so they have to be close enough to us to actually relate to them. But at the same time, we want to also have somebody who is maybe just a little bit above us in things that matter to us, where we can strive to be more like them, right? Be that in personality, be that in maybe fitness, be that in different aspects of their lives. So we don't need to display people who are absolutely ugly unless we want to display like that it's not easy to be that way, right? In that case, if you want to be authentic, you obviously need the person who has who looks how like they have experienced that before. Because we've seen like there's a lot of movies where it's like this perfect looking like 8 out of 10 Hollywood actress is displaying a teenage girl that is being told a lot that she's ugly, and you look at the screen, you're like, she's not ugly at all, right? There's not a world in which she is ugly. And that's kind of creating a disconnect between you and that, right? Also, it's creating a disconnect because oftentimes people like Bocchi then are like, she looks so much better than me. If she's ugly, then I must be terrible, right? That's the additional effect that's coming to this. But yeah, the way we display things in media is very skewed. And her highlighting that, it highlights what people that don't have a high self-esteem actually experience oftentimes when they see people being ordinary, right? Ordinary in their in their looks, in their behavior, in their whatever, right? But being so far above us, right? You need to hit that sweet spot of, yeah, they're a little bit cuter than me, maybe they're a little bit more, right? More pretty than me, but then she has to be recognized as such in the piece of media. Otherwise, I do start having skewed standards, and we already see that in social media when we see all of these influencers looking absolutely pretty thanks to makeup, Photoshop, whatever. And then we see that every day, we scroll past it every day, and our self-image gradually grumbles because all the people we see on social media are looking prettier than we are, which is terrible as a feeling, right? And it's putting you down, but it's not the reality. It's not the reality. Obviously, we want to see pretty people, right? But we need to highlight that these people are especially pretty, or we need to find people who look more average and enhance them less to actually emphasize that it is okay to have flaws. It is okay to be, right? What is the standard I'm supposed to hold myself to, because media influences that standard a lot. Rio sending just random fucking pictures of food and like, decide what I should eat. Yeah. And we had that, like, I think, that reminds me of Kaguya with Jirogane and what he was dressing up, but it's not as bad. But yeah, what is all the fucking sippers for? What is all the fucking sippers for? What the fuck? And the shirt is ripped down. Of course it is. And then they find out that her mother's dressing her up in super, super cute dresses, and she hates that. Which, yeah, I can feel that so hard. That if your character is a certain way, right? You would like to display yourself a certain way, although her tracksuit doesn't help with how she displays herself, right? This is also different from how she sees herself. But if your character is a certain way, and then somebody gives you something like clothes that absolutely don't match what you are, how you see yourself, that is a real problem. Because even though she looks super cute here, this is not who she wants to be. And that's the important thing, and that's why she doesn't wear them. But it's of course something that they're gonna tease her about later on. Kita is absolutely enthralled by it. But she died when it came to the bangs. That reminds me of like Monogatari with Nadeko, when she like with the bangs and whatnot, we had that whole thematic, because if you have, looks stupid for me, but if you have the bangs over your head like that, you don't have to look the people in the eye directly, right? You can just look at them and see them completely without them actually being able to be in your face, right? Encroach on your personal space. Shout out to episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Watch that one. Personal space, funny. Long tangent. I mean, I think the outfits are okay. It's cool to create some band-like cohesion, I guess. I'm just not that, like, it's too simple in my book, right? Hita is obviously absolutely into it with like Rio. It's Nichika kind of getting going Esper and reading Bocchi's mind is fucking amazing. But it shows that she kind of recognizes that Bocchi is sometimes not just like the meek, right? To the outside, maybe she's the meek, friendly, whatever, but on the inside, sometimes she has some thought is like, screw you, what the hell, right? She was a little bit peeved that in the end Nichika chose for all of them, but yeah. And of course, Kita makes it look good, because she always makes it look good. She has a good fashion sense, that's just how it is. For Bocchi, it looks kind of normal. I don't like it on Nichika. I don't know why. Maybe just, I don't know, it's the pants. It's the fucking pants. It doesn't fit, in my opinion, at least to the t-shirt in that sense. And yeah, Rio makes it look as well. Leave it to Rio to make like shirts that are weirdly like that have like undersleeves, weird undersleeves, look actually decent. I don't know, man. She could be looking better though. Honestly, she could be looking better. Still, it's a start. We have unity, we have cohesion, and here we have the disaster. The charms didn't work. No, why did the charms not work? I love this framing, right? Everything, like her whole guitar creates this black shadow, right? Which contrasts with her pink hair. And that again creates another layer, because behind that is the gray, rainy sky, and we're looking up at the sky, right? We're not looking at it from a head level, we're looking from down up, and it's imposing, right? It creates an imposing shot, especially with like the roof, with the drainage that we see overhead of Bocchi. It's a great shot. Yeah, that was Bocchi the Rock episode 7. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the bit with the school festival was too dragged out. I feel like that was the only thing that I didn't like all that much. I think maybe we should have needed something that kind of interrupts the pacing here, or we would have had it as a continuous bit, but then the two different like ways to display it, right? The stop motion and then the 4x3 different anime art style kind of thing wouldn't have fit. So there, I don't know how you could have made it better, right? But it felt like, oh yeah, we're out of the bit and now, okay, we're back in. Which, yeah, I don't know. I think they just wanted to fit in both bits that were in the source material and wanted to do it justice. But the problem is the pacing just didn't, like, kind of conflicted with that a little bit. So kind of a shame, but it didn't detract much from it. It didn't detract much from the enjoyment of it overall. So really appreciate that. If you did like this video, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. to see more, to see Bocchi, to see Monster, to see a little bit Jujutsu Kaisen every once in a while, to see my Spice and Wolf reviews. If you want to support me, I would really appreciate that. There's a lot on Patreon, right? Early access to all of my series, aside from the ones that I do seasonals, right? Spice and Wolf in this case. We do have exclusively the reactions to Spice and Wolf full length on the Patreon as well for the lowest tier supporters, and also for the lowest tier supporters, we do have the pips of all of my series, Bocchi, Monster, and all the other ones. So if that seems like it's something for you, go check it out. You can also vote in polls when my series are running out, and I'm asking you again what I should do afterwards. For Bocchi, we're not gonna have a poll because there's gonna be a series already queued up for that. When we finish JJK, I'll ask probably if we should immediately go into season 2 or if we should watch something else like Girls Last Tour or whatever other thing is gonna be suggested. To have kind of an interruption. Maybe we'll also do a seasonal. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a seasonal because there's a couple of interesting seasonals that I would be very much interested in taking a peek into. So that might also be a thing, like a route that we're going. But until then, thanks to all of my supporters. Special shout out to Cardboard, who has been supporting me so much. I almost feel guilty about like not giving him the immediate Technolize that we're gonna react to eventually after Bocchi / JJK, depending on what's gonna be finished first, probably Bocchi. And yeah, big shout out. I really appreciate that. Without you, I'd probably not have this mic right now, which is a big step. And we're continuously improving on the lighting, the timeline, everything else, the way we do things. So I can give you reactions that you thoroughly enjoy, hopefully, and discussions that are very engaging. Yeah.